Hello folks, Mundane Man here again, and today we are working on this Frigidaire dishwasher. And it's had this ongoing problem for a long time that when you open the door, it makes that horrible noise. I'm going to make the assumption that the hinge is bad in there, and I have a replacement hinge, so let's take the door apart and see if we can get that fixed. I'm not sure, I've never done this before, so let's work through it together. So let's get at it. So the first thing we're going to do is unmount it from the cabinet. I have side brackets in here, which I'm also going to change because they're failing. Some people may have the brackets underneath holding the dishwasher to the countertop. Ours is granite, so that's why we don't have the upper brackets holding it in place. You can also get a bracket for that, but that's a whole different scenario altogether. So we'll get those side screws out, and then we're also going to take off the lower panel because we're going to want to slide the dishwasher out a bit so we can get access at that side hinge. So I'm just going to take out these plastic caps that where you can access the screw holding the dishwasher into the cabinet. This one I have in backwards for some reason. There we go. And we'll just take the screws out that are holding the brackets. Okay, we get the side screws out. So now we're down below and we're going to take out these Phillips screws that are holding the plate at the bottom of the dishwasher. That way we can access our drain hose and electrical to make sure there's enough slack there to pull the dishwasher out. Enough that we can get a hold of that hinge. So there's our drain hose and our electrical. And I'm hoping there's enough there to slide it out. Let's see. So far, so good. So I have it out this far. Now we can see better what's happening with this door. So it's something going on in here. And my fear is it's actually the hinge pin, not the hinge itself. Let's take it apart and find out. First thing we got to do is take out all these T15 screws and get the front cover off. Okay, we've got all the screws out. We're just going to gently lift the door off. I just pushed in the latch a bit there. Pull the door up. We're gonna unplug this connector, so make sure you've turned the power off, and pulling off the where the wire is held into the door. And now the cover is off. You have to take out the latch though. And the latch just pulls out of the plastic housing right here. So we're just going to set this up here and get the door cover out of our way. Next we're going to disconnect the spring here, which is just a matter of taking some pliers and pulling the string over. Like such. And take the string off of the hinge itself. Now we're going to unscrew the hinge from the door. Again with your number 15 Torx bit. And now we have to take off the screw for the insulator pad. And that's the last attachment for the hinge. And that's a Phillips screw. Or you can use a 1/4 socket if you want. And there is our hinge off. Well, sadly, we're in a position that a lot of people with this KitchenAid dishwasher has, is that pivot point that the hinge rides on, right here, has broken off. And unfortunately, that is a no-fix scenario. So if you look at the right side of the dishwasher, you can see where that pin is supposed to be. And that's what the door rotates on, and it's sheared off on the other side. So what I'm thinking is, can I drill that out? You can barely get your finger in there, but drill that out and put a nut and a bolt through there that the hinge can ride on. There is no other way to do it other than replace the dishwasher, as from what I looked up. So, may as well give it a try. So I need to be careful that I don't drill through this bottom tray here, because I believe that's part of the bucket of the dishwasher. So, caution is the word of the day. This is a 7/32 drill bit, which is about half the size of what's left of the pin. I think I'm going to drill a smaller hole first. Okay, let's drill out a little bigger hole now. Okay, after drilling out this the old hinge pin, we left some meat in there. And this is going to be my new hinge pin. I've got a number 10 flathead screw with a washer and then a lock nut. And that is what our hinge is going to end up pivoting on after we're done here. So I did buy a new hinge just in case the old one had been bent for some reason. I don't think it was bent. I think the main problem was the fact that the hinge pin broke off. So let's see how we can end up mounting this baby. You can see how that's going to fit in there. So let's put our hinge screws back in first. The short screws with the number 15 torque bit. This hinge pin situation, pretty common unfortunately, and is basically the death of your dishwasher if this doesn't work out for us. Okay, I added a second washer onto my screw. Number one, so that the head had more pivot space for the screw head, and that shortens the distance that is going through in the back, because there isn't much space back there. Let's try that again. Just barely enough room to get in there. I'm going to put a wrench on the back side of my bolt or nut here and tighten this down a bit, but you need to keep some looseness there to allow it to pivot. I'm using a lock nut too, so that the screw doesn't back out. And that seems to work just fine. See if I can get it just slightly tighter. The screw is turning, but then so is the nut. So They're kind of working in concert with each other, so I don't think it will back out at all. Okay, I gave it a bit more of a tighten. Now, again, this isn't going to be a perfect solution just because of the way it is. But if it allows me to get a couple more years out of this dishwasher, I will be happy. So I think I'm happy with the way that is sitting in there. Now, you need to just bend this tab a little bit around your pin. In my case, it is a nut and a bolt to make a pin. Easier said than done. Got something with some leverage here, so we can just bend that in just a touch, like that. That'll prevent you from pulling your dishwasher right out of the hinge too, which I believe is the main reason for that. Okay, well, let's start putting things back together. Okay, so I tucked the insulation back in underneath this overlapping insulation, and now we're going to put our screw back in that will hold it in place. I'm using a screwdriver, but I think it's a 1/4 inch nut driver you could use. Now we got to put our spring cable back in, and of course that unlatched on us, so we're gonna have to pull the dishwasher out further to reconnect that. Okay, I was able to get I had to pull the dishwasher out a bit more to get my string connected, so now let's re-thread it around. Let's keep tension on the spring back here. We'll hook it onto the hinge like such. And then you can use your pliers to pull the string around. And there we go. Spring tension returned. And that's what makes sure your dishwasher door doesn't just drop. Spring around the wheels. Let's see how she works. Well, not making a big clunky noise anymore. And I think our fix here is going to hold up for now. Okay, let's put her back together. Hopefully we didn't damage our floor too much moving it around here. Okay, got our screws all back in. Our molding is in place. I believe that's where it's supposed to be. Yeah. So now we're ready to slide her back in and remount it. Do have these brackets here that allow you to screw it in through these side holes into the cabinet. So hopefully it works out for us. These things have a tendency to move around, so it's best if you bend these tabs in so it doesn't at least fall out. Now, it is kind of hard to get a screw through here. So I kind of have to go through the basket. Okay, we got the dishwasher screwed back into the cabinet. Having the upper bracket would be way better, I think, but this is what I've got today, so let's just put our gray plugs back in, one side, and the other side. I took the bottom tray out while I was messing around with those screws. We'll just slide that back in like such. This cover can always be a bit of a chore to get in as well. Get our dust out of the way so we can vacuum it up after. Unlike the anal retentive appliance repairman. Just like that, we'll put our 2 screws in, and that'll be this job done. Well, that's this little job done for now. There's our homemade hinge pin there. No more clunking noise. Not sure how long before that one will go and we do this job again. So I turn the power back on, and let's just run a little rinse through it. Make sure it doesn't leak or make any weird noises now. Okay, and I hear it filling. I'll just check to see if any water comes out the bottom. We didn't disturb anything because there's lots of slack on those hoses. So I'm going to call this job done. That's a good job done. We made our own hinge pin for a Frigidaire dishwasher. Apparently it's a common problem and could be a death sentence for your dishwasher. I don't know how long my little solution will work, but I'm happy with it, and maybe we'll get a couple more years out of this dishwasher. Like I said, appliances seem to have a 10-year lifespan, and we're just at that 10 years, and look at that. Something goes that would normally cause you to throw out an appliance. So that's it for this edition of Mundane Man. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.